Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
Good evening, everyone. First tonight, a former soldier has given a harrowing account of how his dream of serving in the armed forces turned into a nightmare. The Hobart sitting of the Royal Commission into Defence and Veterans Suicide was told how a stigma surrounding mental health still exists, and a warning some viewers may find the contents of this story distressing.
For Gavin Tunstall, joining the Army was a proud moment.
It taught me a lot about myself. It gave me a group of men to be around. I started to feel like I had a family.
Enlisting in 2004, his first tour of Afghanistan in 2007 changed everything. Forced to carry a dead colleague on a stretcher for 8 hours, he was also tasked with forensically identifying deceased Afghans, including enemy combatants, some of which he discovered were children.
It's not usual for me to be inspecting their dead bodies. I expected men.
At times tearing up, he recalled this psychological toll.
You don't know how you're going to react to a mother and a baby. Can't train you for that.
Mr. Tunstall was eventually downgraded from being deployed.
I come to work and I sit in a chair.
Did you say you were called a linger? L-I-N-G.
Malingerer.
Physical injuries and changes to medication followed, which took a toll on the veteran, including suicidal thoughts, culminating in him being arrested on domestic violence charges in 2020.
Sergeant in the police force, he said, I'm tired of arresting veterans, and he had tears in his eyes.
Now discharged, he says mental health remains taboo in the armed forces.
I felt like the chain of command were kind of... my case started to get too complex for him and they didn't know what to do with it.
His testimony receiving praise from the commissioners for his willingness to speak up.
It's very important for people to hear your story and to hear stories like yours. It's the only way we're going to know what the problems are.
Meanwhile, Federal Veterans Affairs staff testified they weren't asked about the awarding of grants for wellbeing centres at Burnie and Launceston.
Was the department consulted in relation to the appropriateness of RSL Launceston as the recipient of the grant?
No.
John Hunt, 7 Tasmania News.
And if you need support, there are services available, including Lifeline on 13 11 14. 4 more Tasmanians have died with COVID, taking the state's total to 149. 95 people are in hospital with the virus, including 28 being treated specifically for COVID and 5 in ICU. 856 new cases were recorded today, taking the active total to just above 5,000. As of Sunday, community case management facilities in the north and northwest of the state will be closed. A 43% emissions reduction target has been enshrined, with Labor's climate change bill passing the lower house. Bass Liberal MP Bridget Archer was one of the supporters, crossing the floor to vote against her party. She says she's had thousands of people from her electorate call it their most significant concern, saying it transcends age, gender, political affiliation, religious beliefs and socio-economic circumstance. A passionate, proud and partisan crowd turned Valley Road into a cauldron when the Devonport Strikers became the first Tasmanian team to play against an A-League side. Despite the rain, lopsided result and a mankini-clad rebel, the night was a resounding success as thousands screamed to full capacity.
Forget Wembley and Anfield, only Valley Road could give a Devonport welcome for Wellington. A cry captivating the coast.
Love the club, Strikers, love the players, showing some mettle. It's a really good game to watch.
The Strikers Army boasted some 2,000 soldiers. They packed the stands brought in just for the clash.
Oh, I love the atmosphere, there's so many people here.
All going for Devonport, except for Lee Mills flying the Phoenix flag on his own.
I've got no problem with that. I'm just happy to support my team.
Also going in alone, Team Borat.
Stop him.
Kicking an own goal when security stepped in before he could jump the fence.
What was your plan when he got out on the ground?
Do a cartwheel.
How would the mankini have held up?
Were you worried about the fine?
Is there a fine?
Those meant to be on the pitch were hailed as heroes, especially Devonport goalie Keegan Smith, who once played for the Phoenix. In a show of goodwill, his old club passed on a gift bag full of Kiwi goodies.
I would have loved to get something over them tonight, but obviously it wasn't written. We did our best and it is what it is.
A 4-0 loss, a wannabe streaker and bucket loads of rain leading up to the game. Still, this crowd loved it.
The Strikers have done an amazing job and we're very proud of them as a team in Devonport.
An A-grade night for the A-League experience. Tom Johnson, 7 Tasmania News.
A new cohort of community paramedics has been deployed to the front line to reduce unnecessary patient load into the state's emergency departments. As ambulance ramping becomes more common, it's hoped the new model will alleviate pressure on the workforce.
Under a strained health system, they're the heroes who continue to step up in life-saving situations.
Heart attacks that we've, been there for the sudden onset and then met the patients afterwards, and they've always been very grateful and thankful.
To avoid pushing the state's ambulance service to the brink, dedicated community paramedics are now boosting their ranks.
This is about putting patients at the centre of everything we do, and we know that certain patients are better served, better cared for if we take care of them in the community.
We'll be able to treat the patient in the home and then a day later come back and reassess, make sure our treatment plan and pathway has worked.
Their roles are designed to offload non-urgent cases amid overrun emergency departments.
Significant number of 000 calls that Ambulance Tasmania receives, and indeed all ambulance services around the country, are for non-life-threatening emergencies.
With the recruits carefully selected from the existing workforce.
It's a whole of healthcare system issue that we all have to try and tackle.
For 16 hours a day, the new recruits will be ready to respond in Hobart, Launceston and Ulverston, with Burnie to be added to the list once its new station is complete.
They have undertaken 5 weeks of intensive training, including face-to-face training, online training, and they've also done clinical placements.
All helping equip the new team who've already begun making an impact. Grace Evans, 7 Tasmania News.
The ribbon has been cut at the opening of the Northern Employment and Business Hub in Launceston. The free service aims to help job seekers gain employment through place-based training across industries, including manufacturing, hospitality and health.
The Jobs Hub model that we're rolling out around the state's providing opportunities for people young and old who are looking to get back into work and to connect with their communities.
It was all about finding local jobs for local people. We've only been here for 8 weeks. So far we have 107 people into work.
The state government has committed $2 million to the initiative over 2 years to help strengthen local workforce development. And Tasmanian Winery has claimed the title of the nation's top vineyard. Pooley Wines was awarded Australian Vineyard of the Year at the Halliday Wine Companion Awards in Melbourne. Its Margaret Pooley Riesling was also named Riesling of the Year. The Pooley family says they're incredibly proud of their achievements, crediting Tasmania for being among the world's best cool climate wine regions. A 10-day extravaganza dedicated to the celebration of science and art in Tasmania has officially been launched. The creative minds behind the Beaker Street Festival are returning for another year, boasting a long list of talent. Organisers are hoping to draw attention to environmental and social issues, with a particular focus on light pollution.
That is something that we should all really be celebrating, is our incredible access to the stars, which most people in the world don't have anymore.
The more that we can do to brand ourselves as a city of science and a city of innovation and technology and digital, the better.
The official festivities kick off tomorrow, with thousands expected to flock to all corners of the state to enjoy the jam-packed program. The rain didn't deter more than 60 participants walking to help raise awareness this Homelessness Week. Vinnie's Park to Park walk saw various charities and members of the community taking part, travelling from Launceston's City Park to Royal Park.
It's really important that everybody has the opportunity to have, or has somewhere safe to sleep, somewhere warm, safe. It's a basic essential for humans.
The official statistics say about 1,200 statewide. Some people say it's up to 2,000, but that's an interesting statistic, but the reality is there's a lot of people that are in danger of homelessness, and they're the people that we get concerned about as well.
Vinnie's estimates ignoring homelessness in Australia will likely cost more than $41 million a year, highlighting the need to address the crisis. A group of Tasmanian motorcycle riders are revved up and ready to go as they set off on a week-long journey to Alice Springs. The Black Dog Ride will see hundreds of bikers from across the country brave the conditions to raise awareness around mental health.
Wild hogs. Heading to the Red Centre.
That's right. Damn.
16 Tasmanians have embarked on their 7-day journey to the heart of Australia, celebrating camaraderie while raising awareness around mental health and suicide prevention.
For me personally, I mean, I had suffered from depression and everything like that. I'm very fortunate that, I've been healthy and well and everything for quite a few years now, but I guess I got hooked on the riding with mates.
The social side, the comrade, and catching up with people you haven't seen for a couple of years, and it's just amazing.
These rad riders are getting their motors running for the Black Dog Ride, travelling more than 7,000 kilometres.
The meet and greet is Echuca, and then we go from there to Hobart, then Charleville, then up to Longreach, and we get a day off in Longreach to do some laundry. Then we go across to Mount Isa, across to Tennant Creek, and then we come down to Alice Springs.
Very, very excited, very anxious and a bit of overwhelmed, but it's going to be a great time.
COVID has put the event on hold for the last 2 years, leaving more than 400 participants from across the country itching to get away and raise funds for a cause close to their hearts.
Third time lucky. So, and there's no stopping us now. We're on our way. It's really simple. We want to make that difference and encourage people to talk.
Driving a national conversation around mental health and the importance of mateship. McKenna Bailey, 7 Tasmania News.
Ariane Titmus has wrapped up her Commonwealth Games with gold number 4 in Birmingham. The Tasmanian powered to victory in the 400 metres freestyle, cementing herself as one of the greats over the distance.
Arnie's so good and breaks the game's record.
I'm glad now that that's over and I can enjoy myself.
She plans to go on a month-long holiday. Launceston's Sam Fox was also in action overnight. He ran into trouble early on in the mountain biking with a puncture on the first lap. He ended up finishing 6th, just in front of his teammate and 4-time Olympian Dan McConnell. In the lawn bowls, mixed results for Rebecca Van Ash in the women's triples, going down 12-14 against South Africa. The Aussies easily won the earlier game against the Falkland Islands, 29-8. And Eddie Ockenden has chalked up an assist, helping set up the Kookaburra's first goal in the game against South Africa.
The overhead. Nicely done. Here is Eddie Ockenden. A chance for Australia and the opener through Jake Wetton.
The Kookaburras won 3-0. Stuart McSwain has withdrawn from tonight's 1,500 metres after being struck down with the flu. Diver Emily Maney will make her debut tonight at the Commonwealth Games in the 10-metre platform. Beck Van Ash will face Northern Ireland in the final group game before the quarterfinals. Georgia Baker is racing in the time trial. And Kookaburras are back. They're playing Pakistan. Closer to home, a brave but outclassed Devonport Strikers have been knocked out of the Australia Cup. They were in the contest for most of the game before Wellington Phoenix shifted gear to obliterate the home side 4-0.
The biggest clash in Devonport Strikers' 56-year history nearly elicited the biggest eruption in all of that time.
Garrido! Oh my goodness!
What a mental blow that would have dealt the visiting side. Instead, it only switched the Phoenix on.
Wayne with the shot and Ben Wayne with the finish.
Through intercepts and a tough team approach, the Strikers proved they could match the A-League giant. But the boys in blue couldn't crack Wellington's watertight defence. Keegan Smith protected the net valiantly for the Strikers as he came under constant attack. But he wasn't infallible.
Dangerous ball, the header is a terrific finish.
After holding strong for 60 minutes, the Strikers' defensive wall eventually caved in. Ben Wayne popped Wellington's third over the keeper's head before a corner converted into a sweetly struck header, silencing the crowd.
Yeah, not much to smile about there, unless you go to the canteen and get them chips and gravy there.
But the opportunity was eaten up by those taking part.
We held our own for a bit. Obviously, they scored that second and third goal that let us get our heads down.
The class difference between NPL and A-League was laid bare, but the respect never wavered.
It's great for the community up here in Devonport to come and support the team, you know. That's why we have the Australia Cup.
If we'd have scored one of our early chances before they had theirs, you know, it doesn't necessarily change the outcome of the game, but it definitely makes it a bit more interesting for potentially 60-70 minutes.
If the Strikers won, they would have gone on to play Melbourne City. Now their attention returns to taking out the local title in the NPL.
Fresh off arriving in the state, the newest Jack Jumper is keen to prove himself in front of his new head coach. Isaac White will have the chance to fight for a long-term spot in the league as Clint Steindel's injury replacement.
Leaping from one nest to another, Jack Jumper's signing Isaac White says the Tasmanian home crowd is one he's looking forward to playing in front of.
The sold-out MyState Bank Arena comes alive!
As a player, you want to be in a winning environment and a culture that you see yourself fitting into.
The 24-year-old guard joins the squad having spent the past 2 NBL seasons with the Illawarra Hawks. He's grateful for the chance to prove himself with a new side.
Obviously, I'd love to hit the floor as much as I can and help the team out, but I've just got to put in the work.
I know some teams were interested in him and just hadn't made an offer, and I thought we need to move aggressively and jump on this.
The aspiring sharpshooter is an injury replacement for Clint Steindl, the captain recovering from a left knee injury sustained in last month's FIBA Asia Cup. But those are sizable shoes to fill.
He's not Clint Steindl, and he's not really here necessarily to replace Clint Steindl. He's just here to be himself.
Hopefully I'll shoot the ball well, something I hang my hat on.
And with Will Magnay's recovery taking longer than expected, there could be another injury replacement on the way.
How quickly would you move on that?
Quickly.
Happening now?
Could be.
What's his name?
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
An import of that standard, likely out of reach. Josh Duggan, 7 Tasmanian News.
A tribunal regular has now been banned for life. Former Clarence player Jack Gleeson, who now suits up for Lindisfarne, copped yet another suspension overnight, which tipped him over the threshold for a life ban. Players are automatically deregistered if they accumulate more than 16 weeks of suspensions. Lindisfarne has just over 24 hours to lodge an appeal. Cripps Waratah is looking to stun one of State League Netball's great finals performers. The side shocked the competition when it beat reigning champion Cavaliers to make it into the decider.
Coming into the season, we had our eyes set on that grand final, but obviously for the past couple of seasons, we're finishing that 3rd place.
I think we've got matchups all along the court. Everyone in our team, I think when we're playing our best, can beat our opponent on the court.
The Northern Hawks are used to this time of year. The side has been in every grand final for the past 7 seasons.
We played Cripps a couple of weeks ago and they came out firing. We only beat them by 5 points, so we know that they're certainly the in-form team at the moment.
We had a real mental battle the first few grand finals that we're in, and we lost 2 before we actually won one, so we had to assess ourselves mentally and say, well, clearly it's not ability, we know how to get there and do the work.
It's also the first time since 2018 we aren't seeing an all-Northern decider. The Opens are in action from 4 o'clock on Saturday at the Silverdome. In the NBL 1, the Hobart Chargers men's side has the chance to lock in 2 home finals this weekend, but are facing a huge task to achieve it. The Chargers host 4th place Sandringham, which is on a hot streak, having won 8 of its past 10. The coach treating the clash as a potential preview to the upcoming final series. He says the Sabres roster has the personnel to challenge them.
They're the mini Melbourne United in Melbourne, so they've done very well putting that team together. Dave Barlow's sort of leading that, and they're going to be a tough ask for us to beat.
Tip-off is at 8 o'clock tomorrow night at Kingston.
Good evening. Hobart 5 above average today with 18 degrees. Launceston, Burnie and Devonport all on 15. Dunalley, Bushy Park and Friendly Beaches also on the high of 18 as well. Temperatures all above average today. Flinders Island and Grove 17, Smithton, St Helens and Strawn 16, King Island and Lowhead 15 degrees. In the 24 hours to 9 a.m, Cluin had 64 millimetres of rain. Today until 3, 12 millimetres the highest rainfall at Launceston Airport as the cloud clung to the north and west. The narrow cloud band spread a little more over New South Wales and eastern Victoria, active areas of cloud over the Bight and Southern Ocean. The low pressure cell weakens and bumps into our west coast tomorrow, with those troughs whipping out of its centre. A high off WA pushes a ridge inland. Winds nor-norwesterly, 15 to 25 knots, reaching 35 knots over the north. They'll shift west-southwesterly, swells to 4.5 metres. Gale warning for waters between Sandy Cape and St Helens Point. A strong wind warning from St Helens Point to Wineglass Bay and also from South East Cape to Sandy Cape. A moderate flood warning too has been issued for the Meander River. Minor flood warnings continue for the Macquarie, Mersey, North Esk and South Esk. Hobart tomorrow, the chance of a shower mainly in the afternoon, 14 the top, 15 for Huonville and Campania with a similar forecast, afternoon showers. Morning showers in the north, clearing later. Launceston 13 along with Devonport, Georgetown a top of just 12 degrees. Burnie a high of 12. Showers clearing later, showery for Strawn, 13 the maximum as it is for Wynyard. And the east tomorrow, St Helens a high of 14, those showers clearing, Swansea 14 as well, 15 the top for Port Arthur. On Saturday, showers mostly contracting to the east and south in the evening, southwest to southeast winds, so still cool. A few showers on Sunday, more likely over the east and southeast, snow to 900 metres. And on Monday, mainly fine, possible morning fog and frost, the winds dropping as well. A shower or two in Perth tomorrow, showers for Adelaide, Melbourne and Canberra, a sunny 22 forecast for Sydney and even nicer in Brisbane, 26 the top there. Partly cloudy in Hobart, 13, 11 degrees right now in Launceston, and Devonport it's currently 12. I'm hopefully thinking of a joke for tomorrow night, Kim. It's World Oyster Day tomorrow. Hopefully I'll come up with a perler.
You've got 24 hours to come up with a better one than that. And that is all your news for now. I'll be back later. Thanks for joining us tonight. Good night.